On tap, Rivertown Brewing Company.
Better beer, authority, better beer.
Hi, I'm James Knott, and this is your Better Beer Authority. Today, we're talking about Rivertown Brewing Company. But we're not just talking about it, we're talking with Randy Schiltz and Jason Roeper, the owners and brewers of Rivertown Brewing Company. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us down.
All right, what is Rivertown Brewing Company?
We're actually a small production facility located in, well, actually we're in Lockland, but we're in the outskirts of Cincinnati, Ohio. We started end of 2009, we went into production the beginning of 2010. But we are simply a production facility. We unfortunately don't have a tap room or a brew house, so our products are available in bottle form. You can buy them in 6-packs. We have a 12-pack. And you can buy them in draft.
Okay. How did you guys meet?
Actually, through the Bloatarian Brewing League, but never at the meetings. It was after...
The Bloatarian League, that's the homebrew
They're a
club
homebrew
in
club in
Cincinnati.
yes.
I was actually just reading about them in a book this last weekend.
Yeah, both of us were trying to open a brew pub. He was in Ohio and I was in Kentucky. And I was at one of the Bloatarian meetings, talking... I don't remember who it was, talking about my plans to open a brew pub, and they said, oh, Jason Roeper is trying to do the same thing. So I went over to the secretary and got his phone number, gave him a call, and we kind of started going through what we were doing, and kind of noticed that the restaurant side of it was the thing that was killing all of our dreams.
Yeah.
So we kind of decided to get together. We got rid of the restaurant plans. And it flew from there.
It was magic ever since.
Ever since, man. Ever since, growing and growing and growing. So,
what is your kind of philosophy on beer?
for us, everything should come full circle. Everything we brew, everything that we make are perfect examples of style. I consider myself a style Nazi. And I critique things based on what they should be, how they should taste, not necessarily who it's made by or what country it came from or what origin it's from. I think that's ridiculous. It's all based on style. And for example, and Randy, I'm sure you'll agree with me on this one, but for example, our Helles Lager, I'll use that as an example. When we brew that beer, we didn't brew it as a beer that would be an entry beer for somebody, or we didn't try and lighten the flavor by adding corn or rice or any of those things to it to try and capture an audience that's already there.
Yeah.
We absolutely brew that beer authentically to mimic a style.
I mean, I just had it, and it does seem like it could be a decent gateway beer, but it is very full of flavor,
right.
Very malty, very tasty.
Thank you. But it's also in the way that we make the beer and the ingredients we use in the beer. We don't sacrifice efficiency for cost. So the way we look at it is, if you're going to make a Helles style lager, you need to use German ingredients.
Right.
So we spend the extra $1, per pound per.
It's only one extra $1.
It's quite a few extra dollars.
Quite a few extra dollars. No. Rephrase that. Dollars. We'll make sure that we get authentic ingredients. And for example, in this style of beer, there's only 4 ingredients used. Water, barley, hops, and yeast.
So does it fall under Reinheitsgebot?
Absolutely.
Absolutely would, yeah.
Okay.
If we ever took the time to send it over there. And
yeah. Properly analyzed, but
what is it? What the spark? What is it about beer that got you guys initially excited?
Well, for me, my uncle's been home brewing. Gosh, he started even at the Bloatarian Brewing League. He's been with them since the late '80s. I remember as a kid going to family functions, and he would roll out the corny kegs, and tap them. I just thought that was the coolest thing, So I said, "You're going to teach me how to do this." He said, "Well, not till you're 21." Well, I was 21. I banged on his door. I said, "You're going to show me how you did this. I want to know everything you know." And so he kind of started me down that path. And for me, it became an obsession. It left the whole, this is just something I want to do on a Saturday evening, twice a month. It became I want to brew 4 or 5 times a week. Mm-hmm. And it went from, just making one particular beer that I liked to trying to brew every single style that there that existed within the BJCP.
Right.
And it went from that to entering competitions because your neighbors, although neighbors are great to have.
Yeah.
It's got alcohol and they're cool with whatever you make, as long as it's free and you bring it over. They went from that to I wanted to see what other people had to say. They were educated.
Right.
They could taste my beer and say what I was doing right, what I was doing wrong. So for me, I started entering, the AHA competitions, like the National Homebrew Competition, some of the local competitions. I know back they used to do the Ohio State Fair, used to have beer there, and they used to do competitions. So started getting awards for them, started building up some recognition, and that's kind of it for me, and the rest is history.
I mean, you're a home brewer also for 11 years.
Correct. And so homebrewing really was kind of a means to an end. It was the English-style beers that weren't very prevalent, in the U.S. For such a long time. And my wife actually bought my first homebrew kit. It was an ESB, and that kind of really started the sickness. And it really
It's a
is.
sickness?
It is a sickness. Once you get started, and I guess if it's something that you have passion about, if you find something that you like, and you start brewing good beers, it really does start this progression. We've talked about it a lot of different times. You start usually in your kitchen, and then once you get enough equipment and start brewing large enough batches, it has to move to the garage. And then, once you don't have enough room in there to park your cars,
It goes to the patio.
It goes to
Then to the
some of
basement.
your equipment's in the patio, some's in the basement, and things like that. It is a sickness, so be careful.
What advice would you give to someone who wanted to learn how to homebrew? Where should they start?
The big clubs, the homebrew clubs. A lot of the clubs will have, in Cincinnati, they call them brew outs, where all of the people get together and brew at the same time. And actually, we just had one on Saturday.
For the big brew with AHA and
Yeah.
the American Homebrew Association.
Are you still very active in the Bloatarian League?
We're not.
Really, no, just
we-
time-wise, I just don't have the time.
You really can't because we're not. Technically, if you go in there and you're home brewing beers, especially in these competitions, and you're a professional brewer, that's kind
Right.
of shunned
Looked
upon.
down
That's not
on, yeah.
fair, that you got a professional brewer and they're doing it. So obviously, this day and age, we're members of the Brewers Association. So it goes from home brewing for local competitions to professional brewing for the GABF, and then we'll be at the Midwest Beer Festival, things like that.
Okay. Why should somebody seek out Rivertown beer?
Why shouldn't they?
It's a great,
Start there. It's like,
yeah, it's a great beer. Or actually, all of our different beers. So we have a lot of different beers. Right now, we have 4 or 5 beers here. We have a lot of different styles. 15 different
we brew
styles.
15 beers
Or 15
throughout the
different
year.
beers, yeah.
You bottle 15 beers, or
There's a couple that are available only in draft. We do a blueberry beer. We have a new one that I know we brought it here for you to try. It's just in a bottle, but like our vanilla espresso imperial robust porter, which is our organic beer. That's only available in draft partially for costs, and the other part is we're keeping the organic theme on that.
what about this makes it organic that you do in addition to
All
your
of the
other
ingredients
beers?
are organic that go into that beer.
Oh, okay. So does
no
that mean there's-
chemicals, no pesticides, nothing's been added to the beer.
Okay. And what is the future of Rivertown Brewing Company?
Growth. we went from we started off, and I guess even in our very humble beginnings, we started off thinking we'd produce 400 or 500 barrels a year. As a matter of fact, Randy and I were just going back through our old business plan and looking at it, and 400 or 500 barrels a year was our projected growth in the first year. I think year 2 was 700 barrels. Our first year we did 1,500 barrels. This year we're on pace to do just shy of 3,000 barrels. We're looking into buying 2 or 3 new fermenters that will increase us up over that. We're now currently in all of Ohio. We started off thinking we'd just be in Cincinnati, so we pretty much have the entire state of Ohio. Northern Kentucky, we just picked up distribution down through Louisville, Bowling Green, and then Indiana.
Okay, so this show is broadcasts, we have viewers all across the country, all around the world. Is there a way they can get their hands on this beer? If they're not in Cincinnati?
So, yes, there is. The Party Source in Northern Kentucky, they have a website that you can go on. And
This is partysource.com.
Yeah, partysource.com, and go on and search Rivertown. It'll bring up the selection of beers that we have there at the time, and and order through them.
They ship beers?
They ship beers.
Oh, okay. Another way is you can go on to beeradvocate.com and people could trade beers potentially.
Right.
Look for people from the Cincinnati area or Ohio to trade with.
That is true, but then you're also dealing, you don't know how that person has stored the beer. And storage of a beer, because all of our beers are unpasteurized. So if that person had stored the beer in a hot garage or something like that for, say, 85, 90 degrees for a week or something, that'll kill the beer.
Right. So what is the shelf life for most of your beers?
It depends. Some of our beers, for example, our lagers, our Dunkel, our Helles lager, we go through a pretty tight filtration. So if it's kept at the proper temperatures, and we say proper for a lager being 65 degrees or less, the shelf life is 6 months. Okay. For beers like our Hop Bomber, which is our pale ale, our Hefeweizen, our oatmeal stout, things like that, they're anywhere from 4 to 6 months if kept at the proper temperatures. Keep in mind, as long as you keep a beer in your cellar at proper temperatures away from light, and when I say cellar is anywhere between 50 and 60 degrees, beers can last for years. I mean, in all honesty, understand though, if you're looking at a style like Hop Bomber, or we make a double IPA, which is our Hop Baron, hops are going to degrade over time, and you might still get the bitterness, but you're not going to get the flavor and aromas. So, those are beers that you really want to drink fresh.
Okay, what is kind of your biggest, quote, biggest beer that you sell?
It's our Hop Baron double IPA.
Hop Baron?
Yeah, we didn't bring it with us today, but it's a different spin on a double IPA. It's over 103 IBUs. We hopped the bejesus out of that beer. With, I mean, for lack of better words, from start to finish, we boil that beer for 2 hours. And from about 90 minutes on, we're hopping it every 5 minutes, just throwing hops in the boil kettle. When it's done, we actually run the beer through whole leaf hops on its way to the fermentation vessel. After it's done fermenting, we add about another 10 to 12 pounds of hops into the fermentation vessel. Then we filter it again. Then we add more hops.
Wait, that's not it.
Yeah, we have it again. So this beer, absolutely, in every step of its life, prior to getting into the bottle or into the keg, has been hopped.
Okay. Well, hey, we have had a blast having you here.
Thanks for having us, man.
The boys and I have been trying these beers that they brought, and they're all delicious. We've really enjoyed this. What did you call this?
This is called Roebling. It's vanilla espresso imperial robust porter.
Is this coming to the store?
It's right now. It's in draft only, so you have to go to your local watering hole to get that beer.
This is kind of like the top secret one,
right?
But we don't want to keep it secret.
Right? Yeah. No secrets. No secrets.
No secrets here.
No secrets.
No secrets here. All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Rivertown Brewing Company. It's rivertownbrewery.com.
Correct.
Jason Roeper, Randy Schiltz, loved having you here and helping with the reviews. Thanks a lot. I'm James Knott, and this is your Better Beer Authority.
Better Beer Authority. Better Beer Authority.